Welcome to another edition of Vigorously with me, Val Kleinhands, where we chat music from time to time. That's what we do on this podcast, along with a bunch of other things. But today it's music. Musical duo Hooked Like Helen is in the building today. Nikki is with us. John is busy with props for an upcoming music video. We're excited to see what this turns into. But Nikki is here. Nikki, so glad you're here. Thank you for being here.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much. We are like, well, I am so pumped. I'm speaking only for myself right now. John is pumped that I'm doing this.
Well, it sounds like you're pumped for this upcoming music video. So tell me about that. What song? What's good there?
Okay, so we actually just finished recording a our own rendition of Slipknot's Duality.
No,
Uh,
you did not. That is awesome.
And we had the
Yes.
wonderful privilege of collaborating with Sean Michael Rooney on it, who is an incredible composer and arranger. He collaborated with Falling in Reverse on their Papa Roach cover, which I don't know if you've heard, but
Of course.
Last Resort, yes. So we did a crazy orchestral, like Marvel sounding soundtrack type version of Duality.
Okay.
And everything we do, we always have to go epic and big with it and dramatic as well. So that's what we did. And then we're just doing kind of a do-it-yourself sort of a video vibe just here locally. We're gonna use our woods in our backyard, and then we're gonna go to like an old warehouse just down the street. Um, and just capture some crazy stuff. We have a really cool guy, a friend. Well, now he's a friend. We actually just met him through another person, but we already feel like friends. Chris Rail, who's going to do the videographing, and his son is going to come and help. His high school son and his friend, who's going to be doing film in college. So it's just like a family effort, and it's gonna
Yeah.
be fun.
That speaks to the bond of music, man. Everybody being willing to help each other out just for the same project, for the same aesthetic, for the same vibe, just for the community, really. And that makes sense that it's more like ballady, orchestrally kind of thing. Because the Last Resort cover is just that. I was like, that is a totally reimagined version of what that could have been. I was blown away when I first heard it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we were too. So we've definitely, I mean, ours is it's not quite exactly like that. It's got some different elements to it, but yeah, same kind of thing where we're just taking it to a whole other place.
Yeah, I love the talk of the woods. I love the talk of old warehouses. I'm getting Rust Belt part of the country. I'm getting possibly Ohio or Pennsylvania because I'm originally from Pittsburgh.
Oh
Is that
my
what we
God.
are? Okay.
We are in Ohio.
We-
Yes. Nailed it.
okay. Well, I mean, I cheated a little bit. I did read the bio before we did this, so I knew. Okay, I knew Ohio, but I think I read it Sandusky. But you weren't always
Yeah.
there. This Hope Like Helen has come from L.A. back to Sandusky, or just to Sandusky randomly. What's the story behind that?
So the story is, John is from the cornfields of Ohio
Uh,
originally, just
got
outside
it.
of Sandusky. I'm from just north of LA, and he came out to LA several years back to join a band, and then I happened to join that same band out there in LA, and that's how we met each other. And it was a whole different project. And then when we found out that we were going to be having our son, we decided to come to Ohio, back to his hometown, just because he had a really great upbringing and a good childhood out in the Midwest, and we felt like it was the right move for us with everything that was going on with us. I can talk about our sobriety journey later, but
Yeah.
so that brought us out to the Rust Belt, and we love it. And just as soon as we moved, we picked right back up with music, but just with a new project, which was Hook Like Helen. And we kind of focused on doing like the home recording stuff, but we never stopped.
Okay, so did being in a new region, being in a new place, did that have any impact on the music or the aesthetic at all?
I mean, it had an impact on everything. For me, like, I had never spent any time in the Midwest. I had some family. I had I have one aunt and uncle that's in Columbus, but I had
Mm.
only spent maybe a few days, one summer or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, got it.
Blown away by how big everybody's yard was and how
Yeah.
green all the grass was. And it was beautiful, but I hadn't spent a ton of time, kind of it took a while to acclimate to just the
Mm.
this different pace, and honestly, just having the open space and having I was like afraid of the dark a little bit when I came out because, where I came from, it's all street lights and concrete and it's never
Okay.
dark, and
Yeah.
there's noises and sirens and things going on. And then out here it's just like, ooh, a little spooky. ever.
Is
Um,
that a cricket or is that someone trying to kill me? We don't know.
right, yeah, because it could be either. Um, but I got used to it. But I think it was like it was more than the change of location. It was really like the change of lifestyle, like altogether, going from
Mm,
being kind of partying and doing whatever to like now we're parents and now we're like here and like sober and we have a little baby that we're in charge of and like a whole new life that just kind of inspired like just a whole new outlook on things and so just new
yeah.
matter for the music and a new direction and stuff
So
for
was
sure.
the baby the catalyst for the sobriety?
Most definitely, yes.
Yeah.
The day that I found out that I peed on that stick and found out that I was pregnant was my sobriety day, which was August 12th of 2012, and it was
Yeah.
weird because I just discovered just this year that that's actually also my half birthday. So, there's
Oh,
more
interesting.
significance to it. Yeah, February 12th is my birthday, so
Oh, cool. That's I love it. And you've enjoyed Ohio since. You're happy there. We're staying there.
yes, it gets crazier and crazier kind of the further we get into music where we're spending a lot of time in Nashville actually. Like the other half of
Oh.
band when we play live, we're a four-piece and the other half of our band is based in Nashville. There's a lot of just like networking and collaboration that goes on. But, since we're also touring quite a bit, we're just kind of always on the go. So right
Mhm.
now, home base is fine here in Ohio. Our son likes going to school here, and John's parents are here, so we have that support system. So yeah, we like it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And it's beautiful that we have the technology today where you're able to do that. I mean, you can work with anybody remotely anymore with
Yes,
everything we have and still continue these projects. Like it doesn't you don't necessarily have to be in the same city. You can be wherever you want.
right. Which I love as an introvert, honestly. Like
Yeah.
there's some people I've collaborated with for over 10 years that I've never even met in person. I mean, these are people that like
Wow.
would love, to invite to a wedding one day or like, they'll definitely be like I'll be at their funeral, but like I've never even met them in person. You know?
It's so funny how that happens. I've run into that multiple times too. So I don't really like to put bands into boxes and categorize them incorrectly. So what I like to ask is just for you to describe your own sound. What would we say the Hook Like Helen sound is?
So that is kind of a complicated question for us right now, due to
Mm,
the fact that the way we got our start as Hook Like Helen, I was kind of mentioning that, we had a little home studio that we actually inherited from John's uncle who passed away
yeah.
like right around the time that we moved here.
Mm,
And so we taught ourselves kind of how to use the basics of it and started focusing on trying to do like sync music for film and television. So that's what the majority of Hooked Like Helen's music that is out right now on all the platforms like Spotify, etc. Most of that is music that came from like specific requests for film and TV sync or custom writing for different things. And that sort of led the genres that we went into, like the different projects we were doing. So, like a lot of what's out now, or a lot of what we kind of got our start with, is a little more adult contemporary and alternative pop
mm,
than what
hmm,
we now in this last year have been touring on and what we're actually in the studio recording to release. Now we're a little bit more of what we would call alternative rock. Um,
got it.
it's like a modern day female-led Queen is kind of like a little bit. I know that sounds very grandiose. We're not that,
Okay.
but that's like kind of we've been told we have some hints of that with kind of like the layered harmonies that we do and just like the
Yeah.
epic, dramatic, theatrical. I'd almost say it's like a glam rock kind of a vibe to a certain degree. Um,
Yeah.
hot mess.
No, to me, it's got some edge, and that's what I personally. That's the stuff that I tend to gravitate toward. I hear a lot of piano. I hear a lot of guitar. Is that intentional, or are those like your instruments of choice, or your favorite ones, or maybe ones that you've even studied or practiced on?
So piano is my instrument of choice that I just grew up playing. I'm not
Mhm.
classically trained. I didn't really take lessons or do anything super structured and disciplined, which I tried to get my son to do, but he just, yeah, it's like when your ear is kind of the thing you lean on, it makes it really hard to not
Mm.
excuse it, but it's just like you end up kind of just not getting really good at the reading side of it. So I wouldn't say I'm like a virtuoso by any means, but piano is definitely my that's what I write on. I write all the songs on piano, so most of them end up keeping at least some of the piano arrangement
Okay.
written on. John plays guitar and bass. Growing up, bass players were just more in demand. Like they were
Oh,
just more scarce. So that's what he kind of ended up doing the most of. But he usually does switch through both. So like when we're tracking demos and stuff, he'll be the one playing the guitar. But we've incorporated all of it into our sound now. So it's like definitely rock bass for sure.
yeah, I hear it and I love it. Let's go back to the film part of that equation or the music that was chosen for film. I read Disney, I read Netflix. I'm like, what is it like getting those phone calls? Oh my God.
Well, I mean, it's like every different thing that we've been involved in on that side of things has like come about in a totally different way. So it's just like you never know. I mean, like the very first thing that we did came about because of a like an online free songwriting contest. We just
Oh,
uploaded an iPhone video of me singing it and playing lyre just on the piano, like at home, like super kind of cheesy lo-fi thing, to the little contest. And then the next thing we knew, it was like, oh, you won. You get to come out to LA to this recording studio, meet this film director. Maybe they'll use it in a movie, et cetera, et cetera. And then it ended up in High Strung Free Dance, which was that the dance film that our lyre music video has a bunch of scenes in, and et cetera, et cetera. So that one was cool. That was, and like I said, that was our first one. So I mean, we were very like totally free.
yeah.
We were skeptical at first. We were like, what is this? Is this real? But then, it ended up being a really amazing experience for us. And the whole crew was awesome. Michael Damian and his wife Janine are just fantastic people. So we're very thankful for the Lyre experience for sure.
That is awesome. Would you continue to make more music for film going forward?
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of a thing that it's like we sort of just dabble in here and there now. We don't pursue a ton of it. I mean, I feel like anything in the music industry, you really have to go hard on like at all
Mm,
times. You know what I mean? So for a while there, that was really our main focus. When I had a little boy at home, John was working full time, and we're out in the cornfields. There's not a ton of industry here.
yeah.
So, that was it. And then now that we branched out, it's taken a little bit of a backseat. But we would absolutely, like score something, a documentary, whatever, like any projects that come along, like for sure. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's got to be so fun when you see the final project put together. The soundtrack put, your creation combined with theirs. What was your initial reactions when you would see things like that come to life? Was it
Oh my God.
exciting?
So exciting. Like especially Liar, because it's a dance film. So it's like, everything stops and it's your song playing, and then it's this choreography,
Yeah.
and watching these incredibly talented dancers doing this beautiful piece that this amazing choreographer put together. And of course, like the script all like led into the scene. And I mean, I was absolutely floored. Like when we went to the New York premiere of the movie and we're sitting there and we're watching it on this big
Yeah.
screen, it's like, wow, it was just humbling. It was just really, truly amazing to have our little piece of art, that thing I wrote because I was mad at my ex or whatever it was, like this massive.
and, and then you turn to your new man and you're like, fuck yeah, we did it. Yeah.
Yes. I'm like poetic justice.
I love it. I love, 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 love it. I read something else interesting about you, and I think I'm pronouncing this right. You have Chromethesia, and I haven't met anybody with it before. Essentially, what it means is you see sound as color, shape, or texture. I would
Yeah.
love to learn more about how you experience that. Like, what are you seeing? How does it develop? Do you feel a type of way after it happens? Because I've never heard of this before.
Oh wow. Yeah. So it's I love answering this because I just feel like it's like I never really talk about it because I never heard other people talk about it. But I kind of
Yeah.
thought that everybody experienced that, like especially when I was a little kid. And I used to like say stuff to my mom when there would be like a song on the radio, and I'd be like the circles or whatever, or like the black spots. And I I recall a few times of her just sort of being like, "What are you saying?" And then so I kind of just didn't talk about it anymore. And I had it a little bit with just even words, like with names and stuff, like I associated different colors, and I kind of grew out of that. And then but the music stuff stayed. Um,
Mhm.
And it wasn't until I read about, I think maybe it was like Pharrell Williams or somebody like that.
Oh, that makes so much sense if he had it too. With how
Yeah,
sensitive he is.
right. Yeah. And I was like, oh, because yes. And he was talking about how his song Happy has like clouds in it in his head because of the minor chords or something. And I was like,
Huh.
my gosh. I was like, okay. And then I also actually back up a little bit. When I started to realize that that other people didn't feel this way is when I would hear a song and then I would see the music video, and the music video's colors wouldn't match the song at all. And I'd be like, why did
Oh.
the director not match the colors? I was
Okay,
like,
got it.
I what were they thinking? And then I'm just like, dude, maybe the other people don't see that. And it just kind of like slowly started to, but it's like, I know there are some people out there who have it so extreme that like even like if they hear just like a D note, that has a certain tone of like color tone to them. Mine
Oh,
is not that extreme. Mine is more of just like a songs or even like big sounds, like production, different layering arrangements of things start to build like structures and have colors and movement and things to them, but it's not just like a single note, like a C is not green and a D is not blue or
okay.
that. I feel like that would be pretty intense. It would be hard to ever be
Yeah.
able to do anything else when there's music on. Um, but for me, it's just a lot of vibe and color and stuff when the sounds are blended together. And I think it helps me when I'm writing for like film and TV, because a lot of times a director will come to you with like maybe a couple of pieces of music that are kind of references for what they're going for, but it's not exactly, or like maybe they don't have the licensing or whatever. But I could
Okay.
take those and I can be like, okay, these are the colors and the shapes that I'm getting. This is the vision. And then I can kind of write something that doesn't necessarily sound, I'm not, I'm not like, you know, copying a chord structure or copying a melody, but I'm creating that same visual. So it's
Yeah.
something new, but it has like, it's the vibe, if that makes sense.
Okay. It's yeah, it's guidance that's it helps create the mood in
Yes.
with your chosen form of art, your medium.
Right. Yeah. And so it almost
Wow.
feels like I'm cheating, but it works.
I mean, do you have any like physiological reaction when that happens, or is it just visions?
It's just visions that are there. I'm not always necessarily even paying a ton of attention to it because it's just all the time. It's whenever there's music, it's just, oh yeah, okay, that's what's happening.
Huh.
And it's not like it's it's not physiologically there. Sorry. To where it's not like it's in front of my face and I can't, see. It's just stuff that's being created, that
Yeah.
generated.
Or you're not
But
like getting overheated or heart palpitations or anything like that.
no,
Okay.
right, yeah, it's not like seeing stars like when you're about to pass out or anything like that. It's just like it's just there being generated.
Oh, cool. Well, now I kind of want to have this for
Yeah.
myself. I'm like, that sounds exciting.
Sometimes when my friends talk about like dropping LSD or mushrooms or something like that, like what they're describing is just like how I feel all the time, and I'm like, I don't need to do
Oh,
that. So I
that
don't
would make
experiment with
so
any of
much
that,
sense.
right?
Wow.
I don't know,
You never know. Yeah, I want to give you another shout out too, particularly for a post that I did creep the Instagram, creep YouTube, saw the post for International Women's Day, which was not too long ago. That really resonated with me because it was a fabulous reminder of a woman's strength. And before or in that post, you kind of hinted that there was a sort of complicated relationship that you had with your gender. Are
Yes.
you comfortable maybe elaborating on that? Tell me about that because I feel like we all could relate to that.
Oh yeah. I mean, for me, well, thank you, first of all. I appreciate that, like International Women's Day. Hell yeah. Um, for me, just I'm pretty open about just trauma in general, like because my music, especially the new stuff, is like kind of very much relating to that and processing it. And I know a lot of our fans have also experienced a lot of trauma in their lives. I mean, I feel like everybody has to a certain degree, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
of
yeah.
aware of it or not, whether you're healing or not. But for me, just like the particular trauma that I went through, it was things that happened to me because I was a girl. And
Mm,
so really I internalized a lot of that. And it was just like there's something wrong with me, and part of it is that I'm a girl, and so I, there was self-loathing going on, and that got lumped in with loathing my own gender. And it's
Mhm.
not that I didn't like other girls, but I just felt like, I was less than, and so
Yeah.
who I was, and so it took quite some time for me to kind of like unravel, and also just not outside of trauma, just, the internalized misogyny that happens,
Yeah.
especially back then. I feel like we are making a lot of progress there and being open and talking about this stuff now. But
Right.
for a long time, we kind of weren't. And so there was just a lot for me to unravel. But like, especially 2020 and on, I feel like I've just like gone like this exponentially with just the healing and stuff. And so,
That's so
um,
good.
yeah, in a much better place with all of it for sure.
That's so good. Maybe because the pandemic allowed for some downtime to really just like process after going and going and going for years and years and years. I felt that same way too. I mean, it was huge for all of us,
Right.
really.
Yeah. It's so good to be able to find something positive out of that ridiculous time, you know?
Honestly, and I mean, growing up in the 90s, I get the misogyny and the chauvinism, and I mean,
Yeah.
there were things that my brother was allowed to do that I wasn't allowed to do, like just because I
Yeah.
was a small petite girl.
Right.
And it's like on the flip side, I know my parents were genuinely looking out for my physical well-being,
Yeah.
but also it does send a certain message. Well,
Yep.
why is it that I can't do what he can? Or why
Yep.
is it that I'm being held back from something I have a passion for when they can do it without being questioned?
Right.
And it's weird. It's like until you get a little older and you do get a little more freedom, that I think that's when you start to accept who you are.
Right.
And
Yes.
that's when things change. That's when the light bulbs go off and it's like, "Oh, this isn't necessarily a bad thing
Right.
that I'm
Yeah.
a girl." Or
Right. Yeah. It was not bad on me. It's bad on everybody else. It's
yeah.
bad on society, bad on the rest of the world. And you just have to figure out how to navigate that, stay safe, but be free.
Yeah. That's it. That's exactly the message. But I think when you're too young to make that distinction, you take it to a black and white situation in your mind. Like,
Right.
"Oh, I'm not allowed to go out by myself at night because somebody might hurt me, but
Right.
my brother can." And it's
Yeah.
and then you sit when
Fair.
you're yeah, and when you're a child, you're like, "Well, what the heck? What does that mean?
Right.
Why am I getting this?" And then when you get a little older and you start to see, well, you're being told because sometimes that does happen.
Right.
And unfortunately, it is disproportionate
Yeah.
in those statistics. It's so eye-opening, really.
Yeah.
What's next for you? What's next for Hook Like Helen? What are we looking forward to? We got a new music video on the way. Sounds like some new music might be on the way, hopefully. But
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. So we like if any fans are listening, we promise we are getting the music done. We've done two national tours on all this unreleased stuff, and we've, slowly released a few songs here and there. Sleepwalker last May, Fraud. We did a collaboration with Halocene before our tour with them in August, which was really fun. Hi, Halocene. But it's kind of, as an independent artist, it's like we are not only just making the music, we also have to like figure out, the release strategy and marketing
mm,
that and distribution and visuals and blah 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 and piecing it all together and trying to make it work so that when you release it, it doesn't just go out into the void. It like hopefully reaches the ears, that need to hear it. So it's been a little bit of planning and kind of going back and forth with all of that. But we will be releasing Duality next, we believe. We might have a special song that's going to be on Bandcamp only, for a charity that we're doing, that we're a part of, for EB, which is like a skin disease, that affects children that,
mm,
is terminal. It's a genetic thing that they are really close to being able to solve and cure, but they
wow.
need some funding. So there's going to be an event in Nashville on April 27th. I'm just going off on a whole tangent right
Yeah,
now.
that's okay. No.
It's the venue is to be determined like in the next 2 days, but it is going to be in Nashville on April 27th. And anyways, we wrote a song. These children are called butterfly children because their skin is as sensitive as a butterfly's wing,
Huh.
and basically it rips and they get these lesions, and it's internal as well, so it causes all kinds of issues and they're in a
Oh,
lot of pain. So we wrote a song called Marigolds, a song for the butterfly children, and we're going to release it on Bandcamp hopefully sometime right before April 27th, and all the proceeds will go to EBRP, which is the research foundation. So that
Yeah.
duality, and then we're going to start releasing some more of the rock and roll music that we have been playing. Promise Me You'll Run will be next, OCD, all the things everybody's waiting for. So
Yeah. That's nice. I love that. I can't wait to see it all. Nikki, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining me today.
absolutely. Thank you. So nice to meet you. You're awesome.